Okay. Oh shit. Was it muted? Oh, that'll be why.
The surface is going to lose its moisture and you get an epic crust really fast. And yes, you want to sear it straight from the fridge because you can sear it much longer before it starts to overcook. You also want to use a good amount of oil or beef fat when you're cooking it because on top of the extra heat.
Random number.
Monitored and recorded by DoorDash and service providers for quality.
Hello?
Hi, this is the DoorDash driver.
Okay.
I pulled into the second turn-in.
It's apartment number 26, if that helps.
Okay. Okay. Are you on Arbor Place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So these numbers are. I'm trying to make sure they're going down. No, they're going up. Are you on the first set of the buildings?
No, second. You take the second right and then go all the way down to like the dumpster gate and then look to your right and there'll be a door and then it's the second to last door on the right when you go all the way down. And then you
Okay, I'm literally looking at the dumpster door right now.
The what?
I just turned left at the dumpster doors.
Oh, so yeah, don't turn left. So it would be the building.
Well, no, there were two dumpster doors. Wait a minute.
It would be the building directly behind you then.
The numbers on this building are 73 to 80.
Yeah, that's to the left. Go look to the right.
There's nothing over here.
I mean, I can send you my current location if you want, just to make it a little easier. What's your phone number?
502.
Hold on. 502
523
523
7997.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna send you my location. Or do you not have an iPhone?
I do have an iPhone, yes.
Oh, weird. You said 523 7997.
502. 502.
Yeah, 502 523 7997.
Yes.
Alright, yeah, I don't know why it's not working, but it's the apartment number 26. Like when you come in, there's a first set of horizontal buildings, and then if you keep going straight a little bit, there's a second set. And then yeah.
You're the second set of buildings, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it put me to the third set. So it's where it's the other building. So I should be give me about 2 minutes. I'm flipping around.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I do remember seeing the sign for 26, but I couldn't find anything else.
Yeah. No, it should just be there. All right.
Should be there in less than about an half.
All right. Thank you. Oh my lord, DoorDash much.
Attention that hot oil makes contact with your steak, reducing any ball spots. And you don't have to flip it every 30 seconds, but I think it makes a difference. Gives time for the exposed side of the steak to cool off, preventing any huge well done gray bands. Once you get your sear, you just throw it in an oven at like 225, 250 and let it ride. If you want to be super extra, flash freeze your steak for 10 minutes in the freezer, creating a much greater temperature buffer. Getting an epic steak.
Hold on. First of all, so this is why NBA viewership is down. On top of the fact every game is on League Pass NBA, we would like to watch some games for free, please. Second of all, if I'm your coach and you shoot this, I don't care if you're in the NBA, college, high school, elementary. I'm whooping you after the game with a belt. Listen, Steph is the greatest shooter ever, and I think I only seen him do this a few times. Hold on. First.
Rain, make it rain, girl, make.
The reason we can print things out in color is
I didn't think it was a bad show.
beer. To print a picture in color, you need a reliable system to layer cyan, yellow, and magenta so you can recreate every color. And you might think that this was invented by someone who was trying to print something, but the method was actually developed for making beer. In the 1850s, a brewmaster in London thought the best way to make sure he was brewing consistent pints was to make sure they had consistent color. But that's hard to judge with your eyes, so one day when he was inside a cathedral admiring the stained glass, he had an idea for a machine that could layer dozens of glass slides of lightly tinted yellow, red, or blue until they perfectly matched the color of a sample of beer next to it. And with this tintometer, all of a sudden there was a precise and repeatable
Be monitored and recorded by DoorDash and service providers for quality.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm 25 to 32, right? Number 26.
Yeah, it's on the first floor.
Okay, I'm literally outside. If you want to come right outside and hand it right to you.
Okay, I'm doing something right now. You could just leave it.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
All right,
I'll put it
thank
on
you.
your door.
Thank you.
Take care.
Ooh wee. That's why you don't tip $1.
way to measure color. And now today you can
I'm
print
gonna
out
eat that.
any picture.
Oh my lord, bro. I'm ready to ride. Only give me one sauce. I don't know if that'll play. Chat, should we do a mukbang? Holy shit. I didn't get fries. They gave me 2 toasts and no fries. I don't want that. They could have kept the slaw for some. Yeah. I would have preferred some fries and some more sauce too. I didn't get my other sauce. And no fork. Come on. Come on, man. All right. All right, got the Louisiana. Oh my god, that looks so good.
From Chipotle cost me $30.58. And it got me to wondering, how many burritos could I make if I had $30.58 to spend on groceries? For
Ooh.
Meet Germani, a 25-year-old college graduate, Apple Store employee, and someone I know personally. I think I might have went to school with him. Instead of updating his iPhone, Germani tries to factory reset it because he doesn't want police knowing he tried to stick his USB-C inside of not one, but two iPhone 14s. On today's explosive episode, we make some shocking discoveries and overhear some heartbreaking phone calls.
If I am no longer here, I'm sorry.
Sit back, relax, subscribe, and hit that like button on today's episode of EDP Watch. What's good, YouTube, man? Welcome to another episode of EDP Watch. In today's episode, we have a certified freak, 7 days a week. We're gonna let Arlen tell us about Germani, right?
Yeah, so he's been talking to two decoys. He started talking to one, and then he switched over to the other one, and then he's been discussing about how he wants to make love to both of them.
I think we have to figure out which decoy he likes the most because, I mean, you know, you can't have both. So it's going to be a tough decision for Germani. Hopefully he can make that decision in Galveston County Jail.
But since he doesn't discriminate, what if he decides he wants some chocolate cake?
Oh, whoa. I mean, the only chocolate cake he could get is Zoe, like... Oh.
Just say hi. Hi. How are you? Good. Hi.
W-Riz, I see you.
Whose place is this?
My mom's friend.
Your mom's friend? Oh, you guys watching?
We were about to watch a movie. We were waiting for you. Send it between us.
I don't know, we just found it on 1, 2, 3 movies.
A 1, 2, 3 movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. This is a cool place. I like it.
Okay, who do you like more?
Who do you like more?
Oh, there's no, I can't answer that question.
Yeah, you can.
I can't
Yeah,
answer
you
that question. I
can.
can't answer that
You
question.
so can.
I can't.
Why not?
Because.
Because I thought you said you wanted me to do yourself, but then you were like, oh, I'm shareable.
I have to, like, first get to know you guys. So.
Okay.
What?
Before I can like.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a date right now.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
I think I might have went to school with him.
No way.
I kind of wonder how old you were.
Oh, 80 years old.
80?
80.
Yeah,
That's
you remember?
crazy.
Yeah, 80.
Okay,
I
okay,
just,
okay.
you know,
I can see.
use the fountain and
The
everything.
glasses.
Yeah,
The
okay.
glasses.
The glasses help, you know.
No, that gives it away.
It
Yeah.
gives away.
It does.
Yeah.
Do you live like? Do you?
Yeah, I think so.
Dang.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, that's what movie.
Damn.
He checked her out. He checked her out.
Do you work at Apple?
No.
What is that? I've never seen that. An Apple jacket?
It's just like a jacket
What is
I
this
bought online.
commercial? This is a wild commercial, actually.
A little bit. It's like 3 minutes long, so it's like, wait, what is this?
Yeah, it's just you have to watch it beforehand.
A little different. Hey, how you guys?
Hey, you missed the movie, man. 60 Shades of Germani. What's this? What the f is this?
We know you hate child predators and love what we do, but sadly, the same can't be said for others. For today on EDPWatch.com, and for only $4.45, you can help support us locking these monsters away. You'll get access to uncensored chat logs, cool discussing audio calls, and never before seen and early access to new videos.
Why would you want to pay for that?
Into monthly giveaways, get 50% off all
Just hearing,
merchandise,
like,
and get a chance to do a IRL catch with yours
adults trying to pick up minors. You're like paying money to hear him like trying to roost up a kid.
1, 2, 3, go.
I don't
The
understand.
key to being rich
Apparently they're getting credit.
is knowing what counts.
Turn around. Anything that's gonna hurt me? No. Anything that's gonna hurt me?
Hey, Germani, look, man, we made this whole trailer for you, bro. Oh, it's gonna be gas when it comes out.
I already got my tickets ordered, guys.
Of the decade. Witness a cinematic experience with plenty of munching.
You a munch?
You'll feel all desires you've never felt before. Ooh. You'll leave the theater wanting to roleplay all night.
All night.
Because Germani, Del Sal is in town.
You're in town. Ah!
Disgusting Predator.
This is about you.
69 Shades
Oh,
of
Germani. Oh, he's about to shut down his whole phone.
Factory reset is crazy.
Oh, wow.
No shame, huh?
No, it's not that.
Oh, it's not that. Well, even the settings of your phone.
You just usually casually factory reset your phone?
Imagine.
Damn.
Factory reset.
you could just-
Crazy.
Oh, wow. New phone. He's about to reset all of it. That's crazy. Destroying evidence.
That's some crazy shit in there, eh?
So, Germani, what are you here for? What brings you here tonight?
Oh, man. This about to... Yo, that's 222 gigabytes of footage. Oh, you gotta put your passcode in. Oh, well, we got that. That was easy. Before you delete your thing, like, I want to save you the trouble. Like, you know, Instagram can just pull it back up, right? And we have it on our end. We know you work at Apple, but, you know...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't work at Apple? I mean, that's...
I bought this online.
Oh, you bought this online?
You're hard representing Apple.
You look familiar. I'm the type of guy that I don't forget a face. I'm about 98% sure, Skeet. I think I went to school with Germani.
Him?
Yeah. I think he was a grade below me.
Really?
Yeah.
Are those condoms, Skeeter?
Oh, wow, they slipped right out of his pocket. Yeah, condom.
Oh, Magnum.
Oh, damn.
Magnums. Oh, I see you, big dog. I see you. Woo!
He asked which skirt she's gonna wear for Daddy.
Well, what skirt is she gonna wear for Daddy?
Who is Daddy, just so we know?
I think Mr. Magnum here was Daddy.
Probably.
You should have said Big Daddy.
Big Daddy, yeah, with the Magnums. You were in a thong right now, and I was there. It would be pulled to the side, and I start to kiss your inner thighs gradually, working my way up towards the, pulling your thong to the side. I mean, you're writing erotica novels here to this the girl.
Well, before we get into the sexual stuff, when she told you that she was, you said, "Lol, what was the oldest you've been with?"
But you said I'd kiss the fuck out of you, just to annoy you. How do you kiss the fuck out of someone? How does that work? Not gonna answer.
You're gonna turn on the movie, and 5 minutes later, you're on top of me as I'm laying on your bed, feeling your cheeks. And the movie was already on.
Come on,
Let's see what he texted. He said, "I need you right now." Oh, okay.
Who do you need right now?
There's another
He's calling tech support.
Oh, Apple tech support. Say it would probably hurt the first time. What were we talking about there?
So this is what you do after you graduate, huh?
Graduated from high school and he's still going after high schoolers.
You sound like you're talking a big game right before we came out.
Jeremiah, you might as well say something.
How about we talk about that threesome you wanted to have, man?
Those two girls that were out here that you thought were underage.
Pussy.
Jeremiah's.
I was definitely true. He hung his head.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell. I think we hit a nerve, boys.
He said he wanted to bend her over as he watches her moan in the mirror.
Making you bite your lips, craving thoughts running through your head, wanting to do everything with me. I wonder where you want me to. So you're talking a big game on the Texans and girls.
That is not the Falcon way. Skeeter, I just want to make known that us Falcons, we don't condone this action.
That was the school mascot?
Yeah. We were the Falcons. You know, PTN, protect the nest, you know. You were out there. You know the deal.
My boy deleting all this data. I'm doing anything.
Hey, you keep on almost deleting everything, man.
You talk about licking her sweet blank from behind. It's just not a good look, Jeremiah, you know?
I know, man, I know.
You can agree with that, it's not a good look. So, just help us understand here, what was the thought process?
Confirmed, he works at Apple.
Oh, he found his LinkedIn. Did Steve Jobs die for this? Did you try to get a Steve Jobby from this girl? I do apologize. It says here he went to high school. I've seen you before. Where have I seen you at? Why don't you just remind me?
Maybe at the Apple
Maybe at the Apple, yeah, I was gonna say, maybe at the Apple store.
Have I met you at the Apple store? I promise, I never forget a face. I've seen you before.
You've seen him somewhere.
I've seen you before. Where have I met you at?
So I wonder if you...
Well, that was a good thumbnail shot. Thank you for moving your hand. Appreciate that.
Or I should lick it out of you. That's crazy. So you wanted to possibly lick your own out of her?
That's foul.
I mean, that's some, like, next level.
Some freaky
shit.
That's some Drake shit.
I would never even think of that. That's just...
He did ask politely, saying, I want a threesome. Would you care to share? Tell me something you want to try. You got a friend you might know that would be down? So you're actually asking a 14-year-old if she has any other 14-year-olds interested. And here you are.
Well, you trying to make a daycare or something?
He's trying to catch them all.
Get a roster.
Skeet, can you fill in the blanks, please?
Okay.
I gotta hear what he was saying.
I want to... He's inside you. It's just like some erotica novel stuff.
I wonder if you take the condom off, then let me go back inside you.
Wow. So what's the point of a condom then if you're just gonna raw dog?
That's true.
Last thing he said before, right before we walked in here. Damn, I want both of you on your knees, looking up at Daddy, pleasing me. I want to show you. And then that's right when you walked in here.
Well, I mean, we could stand above you if you want. Would you want that? Me and Skeeter and Oma to stand, you know. Would that do anything?
That do anything
We're
for
too
you?
old, dude.
You into BBC or?
I mean, obviously, he got the Magnums.
Yeah, for sure.
See, that's Skeeter size.
I do wear the same one.
The Doobie Facts.
Not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I'm just trying to
You
figure.
needed to know where
You
that
can
was
shake it
coming
to oh man.
from.
Is that the
He
pizza?
uncovered.
Yeah.
What's his name?
He's not a talker. Jermaine.
Hey, Germani. I'm Officer Ramirez. You want to talk to me, man? So, who's the main person here? You are?
Yes, sir.
You're Gideon, right?
What's up? Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, man. Alright, bro. So what's the deal?
So Jermaine, he came here to not make one, but two 14-year-old girls.
Oh, guys, no, I got you.
Oh, going fast. Can you make it there? Oh, you didn't make it. Next time.
Almost, dude.
Woo!
Good try, bro.
Hey, man. So, you want to talk to us or not? We can talk over here in private if you want. Yeah? Alright, let's go over here. Let's go in the other room.
Bro, the freaking cop let me put the mic on him. So he thinks he's over there just chilling. We got everything recorded. Okay.
Everything's being recorded.
Next step, right? I mean, we obviously have your phone. We can get a warrant for that. Look into the information that's in there. See what kind of messages you've been sending out and things like that.
Obviously, they have their end as well. By that, I mean screenshots of the conversation you had with this supposed to be girl, right? That's what I'm asking. Like, I got all these questions for you. We can obviously talk right now, right here and there, or we can go the other route, and either way, we're gonna get the information we need. So, what do you want to do, man?
You have a phone?
What's up?
Do you have a phone?
Do I have a what?
A phone that I can borrow?
Not on me, man.
Oh, yeah.
Not on me.
Do you mind if I make a phone call?
Not right now. Okay?
It would be to like a lawyer.
I'm sorry?
It would be to a lawyer.
Well, right now, if you want to talk to me, man, that's fine. You have a right to have a lawyer.
They take his phone?
But, I mean, are they going to pick up at this time of the freaking night?
I should have been like, what if Apple finds out about this? They're gonna relegate you to Samsung.
Is that the car we're gonna take?
Do you want to come down to the station with us?
I'm going there regardless. I'm not. I mean, there's no other.
Why are you saying you're getting over there regardless?
Because I don't really know what's gonna happen next, and I know that I had one more month.
Well, what guy for? What's up, man?
One more month. I'm not gonna run. I'm out of shape. So I'm gonna sit down so it makes me feel better.
Sounds good, man. So what do you want to do?
Happen next, and I know that
What do you say?
I had one more month.
Well, what guy for? What's up, man?
One more month. I'm not gonna run. I'm out of shape. So I'm gonna sit down so it makes me feel better.
Sounds good, man. So what do you want to do, man? Okay, because we can't sit here all night. You either come down to the station with us, talk to us, or we can talk here.
Sounds like he's trying to call his lawyer. Because I guarantee he doesn't have a lawyer.
Once I get there, because...
Stop walking, man. Just stop walking.
I can't explain that right now. They're right next to me, and I just need you to get down here, please. And I need you to get away, please. I can't say anything right now, Mom. They're right next to me. I really wish I could. But yeah, I will not be coming to court, I guess. So I guess I'll be here. Mom. If I am no longer here, I'm sorry. Mom, I promise.
All right, man. Let's hang up, okay?
I'm sorry. Mom, if I am no longer here, I apologize.
Hello?
I was just trying to take his Apple Watch away. Just calling people and shit. So I know he's just detained. He doesn't it's probably just all the cameras and things like that, man. All right.
Yeah.
I understand that we have cameras too, but they're more low key, you know. So we're gonna take him down to the
He came with me, by the way.
Yeah, he came with us.
Yeah. We didn't come with them, but
That dude's so funny. They're both
Now,
honestly
you can
really
sell
funny.
physical products on Amazon and compete with thousands of
God.
other people selling physical products.
Hey man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe,
He
and
didn't say
share.
anything.
It truly helps out the channel. So, after Dramani got arrested, we had to stay back with police to show them the entire chat log. And let's just say, that was an awkward read-through. If I was there, it would be pulled to the side as I started to kiss on your inner thighs, gradually working my way
Alright,
up
yeah,
towards your
the,
crib,
like,
pulling your
chat
thongs to the
logs
side as I started.
gross me
But
out.
luckily, after we got done with all that, Dramani was booked. So shout out to League City Police Department, man. And I know you guys are all...
What?
The year is 2014, and ISIS is the largest terrorist organization in the modern world. Known for their series of devastating attacks,
bigger
they are
than
feared
Diddy.
by both people and governments all around the globe. Through the power of
That dude's annoying. A vape phone.
If you're like me, you're like millions and millions of other people in the United States who walk in and out of a Walmart at least on a monthly basis, maybe more than that. I go to Walmart pretty often, mostly to look at their electronics. Anyways, the other day I was leaving Walmart and I saw their assortment of vending machines, and the Eco ATM right here caught my surprise. Basically, it's a machine that buys your old smartphones for cash. It's interesting because you literally put your smartphone right into the machine and then it pops out cash if you agree to the offer that the machine makes. I've never personally used one of these myself, so when I saw this, a thought came to my mind. Is the Eco ATM worth it in 2024? I had no choice. I had to rush home, get a bundle of smartphones to trade into the Eco ATM because I'm curious to know how much the Eco ATM pays. Like, how much would it offer me for a 9-year-old iPhone 6S? How much does it pay for a Moto G Go that I just unboxed last week? I've also got my Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, which I wouldn't trade for the world, but I'm curious to know how much it pays. What about this Motorola here? By the way, if you know the name of it, comment below. An iPhone SE and a budget Nokia C110. By the way, the iPhone SE is cracked. Does that matter? So we're gonna head to Walmart and we're gonna see what the Eco ATM offers for these phones, because I personally have never used an Eco ATM and I feel like they're slowly disappearing from Walmarts. Anyways, let's go to Walmart. I do have to say I was pretty surprised that I was at this Eco ATM for 2 hours and Walmart said nothing. But the process is pretty easy. You go up to the screen and tap price and sell, and then it walks you through how to sell the phone, and if you can read and write, it's about that easy. And then it goes through a series of questions so they could make an offer. So they ask, did you bring the phone? Yes, of course we have the smartphone. Which type of device? Tablet, phone, folding phone, or MP3 player? We choose phone. It asks, does your phone power on? And, of course, yes it does. What brand is your phone? Apple, Samsung, or Android? Android. Please remove the phone's case if you have one. And then from here, you obviously remove the case. For this example, I'm using a brand new Moto G stylus, and this actually sells anywhere from $50 to $100 depending on where you get it, but I bought this for a video and I unboxed it like 2 weeks ago, so it's literally brand new. I've never even used it on service. So you say I removed the case, and then you print off this little label that you put on the back of your phone. Just like this. And the machine will scan it. You'll see later in the video. But once you do that, you tap I understand, you select the charger, whether that's USB-C type or Lightning, and you can see this is USB-C type. Pretty standard stuff. Then the machine opens right up and you literally plug it into the machine. And this part eventually makes me really nervous because what happens later in the video. But for now, it's working okay. You just plug the phone in and you allow it to access your files. And you put it back on the glass, just like this. Once you're ready to say bye to your smartphone, you tap close door, and this aluminum door closes with your smartphone, and the Eco ATM starts to scan your device. I'm evaluating your phone to determine the model, memory, size, features, and condition. Okay. Let's stay in touch. I was asking for my email. No, thank you. After about 30 to 45 seconds, the Eco ATM is ready to make an offer, and that is $6. $6 for a phone I literally just bought brand new 13 days ago for $45. So I'm not going to accept the offer. No thanks. They give you an option and you can quit. But don't worry, there is good news to come, guys. So stay tuned. This opens up and you take your phone and you run away and never come back. No, I'm kidding. There is some good with the Eco ATM, I promise. As for these budget phones, I don't think it's a good option. But then I had a very curious thought creep into my mind, and I think you guys are gonna like this. Will the Eco ATM make an offer on my vape smartphone? If you guys didn't see this in my last video, you should go watch it. One of the reasons I'm so curious about this is because the Eco ATM has a section where it asks you what kind of device, and there's an option that says MP3 player. I mean, heck, this thing could be passed off as a smartwatch more than a phone. So I say, yeah, it's an MP3 player. Let's see what happens. Does your MP3 player power on? Yes, it does. Once I got to the step, I tried plugging this thing in, but the Eco ATM was responding weird, so I just took it out as it instructed me and placed the MP3 player on the glass. It actually asked me to do this. Then I said toodles to the vape smartphone and closed the door, and I waited in pure excitement. Goodbye, vape smartphone. Please be safe. And then we waited. Yeah, we actually ended up waiting quite a bit of time, and people were constantly staring at me with a bundle of these smartphones. But eventually, the machine told us that, sorry, but I am not able to identify your device. Although this is tragic, in all honesty, I was hardly able to identify this device myself as a smartwatch or a phone, so it's okay, Mr. Eco ATM. Give me my MP3 player back and let me get on with my life. Many of you were
That's
pressed
crazy.
that I called this a cancer-causing smartphone in my last video. All I gotta say is chill out and keep sucking those vapes, brother. Now, in the rare chance that the other budget phone was a fluke, I want to try the Nokia C110 in comparison to the Moto G Stylus and see if we get a better offer. It's kind of funny, I was literally at this Walmart for about 2 hours and nobody ever said anything to me. But once this thing was plugged in, we closed the door and we got our offer. $2.
Check this
That's
out.
crazy.
I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you
Well,
ready?
Maybe like a brand
All right,
new iPhone, probably.
$118 for car insurance.
Oh my gosh, that's robbery, and the sad part is people accept this. Alright, what about a Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus? I freaking love this phone. I would never sell this phone because I have so many memories on it. It has a few scratches, but nothing too severe. Then again, the Eco ATM only grades off of power on, power off, or cracked screen. So I don't think it'll affect it either way. But went through the entire process. Plug the USB-C type cable into this bad boy. Of course, we accepted for file transfer, which is odd that the Eco ATM needs this. Hopefully I don't have a bug. But we closed the door and said, goodbye, you Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Rip me off, Eco ATM. Bye, see you later. And then came the moment of truth, which we've been waiting for, and that is an $80 offer. That's not great. For someone who doesn't know what they have and is trying to get rid of the phone, I guess it might be a good deal, but for John Zoid, yeah, not on my watch today. I'm just glad up to this point that the Eco ATM is giving my phone back, and it's in the same condition as it was when I put it in. And at this point, I was feeling hopeless in the Eco ATM, but my luck was about to change. And you guys are gonna like this. And it all changed when I plugged in another budget phone, the Moto G Go that I bought about 2 weeks ago from Family Dollar. No, I'm just kidding. The Eco ATM offered $6 for this phone
was gonna
too.
say.
Oh my gosh, guys, don't do this. Now, I bought a lot of phones about a month ago, and I found this iPhone SE in that lot of phones. It had a passcode, but I was able to factory data reset it, and I'm curious to know if the Eco ATM offers fair on iPhones. So far for Android and Samsung, it's been horrible, but maybe our luck will change with iPhones. So I went through all the questions. Yes, it turns on. Yes, it's a smartphone. All the good stuff, right? Yes, it's Apple. Blah, 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 blah. Threw a pretty little stamp on there. Yada, yada, yada. And once I plugged the iPhone in and read some fun trivia, they made a final offer of, can you guess it? $28 for a cracked iPhone SE.
Okay.
Not great, but it's cracked, and I think it's better than what we've been getting. As for me, I'm gonna repair this phone and save it for a rainy day. But what if the phone isn't
What if you
cracked?
just
I
lied?
actually have an iPhone SE here that doesn't have a cracked screen, but the home button is broke. The phone is actually from a video I made like 2 years ago, and I broke the Touch ID and then tried replacing the home button and then lost the Touch ID.
What if you
It's
just
just
hit
one of
no, it
those
doesn't
phones
have
that's too hard
scratches,
for me to repair. So went through the steps, put the tag on, plugged it into the Eco ATM, and honestly, anything that I get offered above 40 bucks on this, I'd be pretty excited. So let's see if we could get above that. I don't know if it's going to detect a broken home button. Again, after waiting for some time, the phone decided to make an offer of 65 bucks. Actually, for $65, that's not a bad deal. This is a 2022 64 gigabyte iPhone SE, and for a phone I don't want to deal with, I'm gonna go ahead and sell this, and I'll walk through what that looks like just to give you guys a good idea. 65 bucks ain't bad for a phone I don't ever use. Anyways, I need to turn off the Find My iPhone first. All of the phones bought by Eco ATM are resold to their website, Gazelle.com. So make sure everything's logged out. Eco ATM gives you a Wi-Fi connection to connect to. And then once you're logged out of all of your Find My iPhone and iCloud, you plug it back in and choose the mode of payment that you want. Of course, cash is king, so I selected cash, especially because I wanted to see the actual money get dispensed. But that's not before you have to scan your driver's license, which is a great idea. I can imagine all the stolen phones that come through here. And you gotta take a nice picture of yourself. Oh yeah, there ain't nothing better than taking a photo on an Eco ATM. The best part is people try to steal phones and sell them at these Eco ATMs, as you can see here. With a photo of your face and a state ID, it makes it really easy for the police to arrest you. Good stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that it also captures a signature, so I was sure to give the most authentic signature that I could give here, as you can see, but seriously, you should subscribe. And then just so this thing has every piece of data, you actually have to submit your fingerprint as well, which is nicely and conveniently located right here. I use my pointer finger, and that was good enough. Once you completely sign your life away, it finally dispenses your money, and in this case, like it said, I got exactly $65 in the crispiest bills that my hands have ever touched. 65 bucks in my book for that phone is a great deal. Now, what about an older phone, like an iPhone 6S? Well, there's only one way to find out. I plugged it in and closed the Eco ATM, and then... Like I was mentioning before, at this point I became concerned. Did my phone just get shredded by the Eco ATM? Give me my phone, dude. After about 5 minutes of waiting and not knowing what to do, it finally made me an offer of $11. I thought we were on a hot streak with iPhones, but this destroyed all hope. I'm not gonna give away my iPhone 6S for $11. No thank you, there's too many memories on this thing. Save it for a rainy day. At this point, I wanted to switch back to the Samsungs with the first phone that I ever owned as a flagship device, and that's the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I was nervous to put this in the machine because I cherish this device, but I decided to go ahead and do it anyways because I want to see what it could offer. So we plugged it in, went ahead, just like with all the other phones, closed the Eco ATM. Again, the Eco ATM was getting slower at this point, but unfortunately, sorry, I can't buy your phone. So that's pretty odd. I think this Eco ATM's a bit hit or miss. You know, with some iPhones and some Samsungs, it's worth it, but overall, I don't think this is worth it. Take it to a pawn shop or sell it on Facebook Marketplace. But then again, if you've got a bunch of phones sitting around and you just have no idea what to do with them, Eco ATM is a good option to recycle those. When you sell a phone to Eco ATM, the company that owns them is called Gazelle. So your phone's going to get resold to someone else, or if it's not functional, it's going to get recycled, which are actually both great options. If you liked watching this video and you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe because I release 1 to 2 videos every single week. And if you become a member of the channel, you'll be added to my members only Discord channel where you can chat directly with me. And we do all sorts of fun stuff over there. So be sure to check it out. Be sure to subscribe and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. See ya.
Are you 50 or older? Well, this news is for you.
Kinda.
In football, one of the best ways to put your team in a position to win is to win the turnover battle. So it's probably not best that
Yep.
Hot dogs are an all-American fare, but most likely it was German sausage makers who first came up with the idea. In fact, there are reports of German immigrants selling them from push carts in New York's Bowery as far back as the 1860s. A century and a half later, hot dogs are still the #1 treat on the street. Traditional hot dogs are made from a mix of pork, beef, and chicken. The cuts they start with are called trimmings, pieces of meat left over from cutting steaks or pork chops. The trimmings are ground the same way butchers chop up hamburger meat, by pushing the cuts through grated metal plates. Processed chicken trimmings are added to the ground meat, followed by food starch, salt, and other flavorings. These flavorings vary depending on where the hot dogs are to be sold, because people in different regions have different tastes. Water is sprayed into the mix, and everything is blended together in a big vat. Corn syrup adds a dash of sweetness. The addition of even more water helps to disperse the ingredients and make the hot dogs juicier. Another machine then purees the meat batter into a fine emulsion and vacuums out any air. Long rolls of cellulose tubing are loaded into the
This isn't that
stuffing
bad.
machine.
Like, yeah, it's gross, but
It pumps the meat puree into these casings, twisting it every 5 1/4 inches, the length of one hot dog. It takes just 35 seconds to make a chain of hot dogs that would span a soccer field twice. Then, 3 of those hot dog chains are linked together to make an even longer string, and they're loaded several at a time into another machine which drapes the hot dogs onto moving racks. The process is carefully timed so that a twist always lands on the bar. The racks shunt the hot dogs through a liquid smoke shower, then into an oven with several cooking zones. The liquid smoke seeps through the casing and adds flavor to the dogs as they bake. Hot out of the oven, these franks are drenched in cold, salty water to chill them in preparation for packaging. The hot dogs then file down to an unloading zone. Here, a machine pulls them off the bars onto a conveyor. Then, the hot dogs slide off the conveyor into metal containers. If you've been wondering about those black stripes on the casings, all is about to be revealed. The stripe is a marker attached to the casing. The absence of a black stripe means the hot dog is cooked and ready for packaging. Inside the peeler machine, a tiny knife slits each casing along the top. Then, steamy air blows the casings right off the dogs. This machine peels 700 hot dogs a minute. An inspector makes sure the casing has been completely removed and that there are no defects in the dogs. Then, it's into a device that looks like a plastic bicycle chain. The sprockets position the hot dogs for packaging. This factory manufactures an incredible 300,000 hot dogs an hour.
oh my
That's close to 2.5 million per shift. They really do churn them out like sausages. Fire up the grill and a mouth-watering meal is just minutes away.
No, watch this shit. Watch this shit. Imitation crab.
Ready to tackle
I
your
will
debt?
never eat this stuff
We can
again.
help.
Did you know that crab sticks were invented by Japanese chef Santoro Kaneda in 1971? He was trying to find a way to use leftover fish and created a product that became popular all over the world because of its tender taste and convenience in cooking. Hello, it's Proxima here, and today we'll look at how crab sticks are made. Get ready, we're starting. The process of making crab sticks starts with obtaining the raw material, crab meat. Depending on the manufacturer, either real crab meat or surimi is used. This is fish meat that has a similar taste and texture to crab. Surimi is produced from small and low-quality fish, which is processed into fish mass and then held in a special solution. After obtaining the raw material, it is carefully cleaned of bones, skin, cartilage, and other inedible elements. Then the crab meat, or surimi, is ground in a meat grinder to the state of meat mass. Next, the process of making crab sticks depends on what type of crab sticks needs to be produced. If it's simple sticks, then crab meat is mixed with starch, sugar, salt, and various additives that give the sticks their characteristic taste.
Additives such as milk, eggs, flour, soy protein, vegetable oil, etc. are used. Then the mass is placed on a conveyor belt, where it is steam treated at a temperature of about 80 degrees Celsius. This transforms the crab mass into a plastic and elastic mass, from which sticks are then formed. The formation of sticks takes place in special molds.
That's disgusting.
The sticks come out ready for packaging and sale, but sometimes they are further processed in vacuum packaging at a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius to increase their shelf life. In the case of making crab sticks with filling, for example, cheese, the production process is slightly different. After the crab meat is ground and mixed with additives, it is rolled out on a flat surface and cut into rectangles of the required size. The rolls are then steam treated and ready for packaging. After the production of crab sticks, they are packed in plastic wrap and sent to a warehouse for further sale. It is important to note that crab sticks made from real crab will have a higher cost than those made from surimi. In addition, crab sticks made from surimi may contain additives that give them an artificial taste and aroma. In conclusion, the production of crab sticks is a complex and labor-intensive process that requires high qualifications and special equipment. But thanks to this process, we can enjoy delicious crab sticks at any time of the year. Do you like crab sticks? Write your answers in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss new information.
So we've been asking consumers for their questions about McDonald's food. Number one category by far, Chicken McNuggets. Specifically, say that this is pink slime. So if you grind up the parts of the chicken that you use, does it look like this?
No, and we'll see that later in the process today.
All right. Amy, this blows my mind. I mean, there are multiple lines of people making cuts on the chicken, just like you would at home or just like a butcher would.
Absolutely. Right here is a whole cut up chicken. So you can see here we've got the dark meat with the drumsticks and the thighs, which does not go in Chicken McNuggets. And then you've got the breast meat with the rib meat and the chicken tenderloins, which do go into Chicken McNuggets. Now, before we make the McNuggets, we remove this skin.
Yeah.
And then we later add a small portion back for flavor in the Chicken McNuggets.
For flavor.
For flavor.
Everybody likes a little bit of chicken skin.
Sure.
So
This is
Tyson
the
makes
only
chicken
part of the
McNuggets?
chicken that goes into the Chicken McNugget.
Absolutely.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
No beaks.
No beaks.
No feet.
No feet.
Okay, Amy, so what are we seeing here?
So this is our grinding operation. This is 100% white meat chicken, so the exact same cuts that you saw previously. And then this is the actual grinding plate that we use to grind the chicken.
You know, this looks like a pretty coarse grind, much coarser than you'd find, say, in a supermarket.
Absolutely. We grind it to give you that really meaty texture that you expect in Chicken McNuggets.
Okay.
So there's still a couple more steps to go through.
What is happening here? I can't stop watching it. It's like a lava lamp.
So this is the machine that combines all of the ingredients together. This is the same chicken you saw earlier, mixed with the chicken skin and the marination.
Are those ingredients secret?
No, they're not. So the full list is on the website, but some of the ingredients are water, sodium phosphates, and food starch, which give us that really juicy bite to the Chicken McNugget.
Okay.
And then it's also salt to really increase the flavor of the product. And finally, rosemary extract, which is a natural antioxidant that protects the flavor of the product throughout its shelf life. So this is the final blended product.
Give me that picture. Let me see it. See this? This is what people think the final step looks like, but it's got a completely different texture.
Exactly.
That still looks like meat.
Absolutely.
So Amy, this is it. This is where the nuggets are formed.
Yes. Each nugget goes through a very thin layer of batter, followed by a thin layer of breader, and that breader contains some of the flavor components such as celery and white pepper.
Okay.
And that's
I can smell the white pepper.
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. And then the final step is the tempura coating or a thicker batter, which is really unique to the nugget. It's a blend of wheat flour, corn flour, starches, and leavening agents. And the leavening agents aerate the batter, and that's what makes the nuggets really unique.
Oh man, Amy. First of all, it smells so good in here.
It does. So they've been through the fryer here at the plant. So as you can see, we only partially cook them here in the plant. And basically we do that to set the tempura batter.
Oh, so yeah, it's raw inside.
Absolutely.
So that's just to get this texture.
Yes.
And then they cook them when they get to the McDonald's.
Yes, they fully cook them in the McDonald's restaurant.
Yes.
They'll be flash frozen again to lock in the juiciness and the flavor. And then they'll be bagged and boxed and on their way to the restaurant. Would you like to try one? We can go see Gina in the kitchen.
Yeah, she's cooking them up right now.
Yeah.
Will you be mad if I tell you I haven't had a McNugget in a long, long time? So Gina, what do you do here?
So we are in our sensory kitchen where we evaluate nuggets every hour off the line.
So you eat chicken nuggets every hour?
Absolutely.
All right, so what's a perfect nugget?
So first we evaluate on appearance. So we want to make sure that it's a light golden brown.
Okay.
Make sure that it has ridges and peaks.
Yes.
And then you need to have a slightly firm texture, but it's still juicy.
Yes,
And then
okay.
from a flavor perspective, we want to make sure that you pick up on a chicken flavor as well as some slight pepper and celery notes.
Should we try one?
Let's try one.
All right. I'm a barbecue man myself. What about you?
Sweet and sour.
Uh-huh. Oh, see, that's the experience that I remember. That reminds me of my childhood. Mm-hmm. So I've been to the facility. I've seen how they make the chicken McNuggets and exactly what goes into them. I know a lot of you are expecting pink slime or the whole chicken, beak and claws and everything. That's not the case. The reality is that they're made with white meat chicken. There's no mystery. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've been there. It is what they say it is. Now, I know you've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of questions too. So you keep asking.
That's
and I'll
crazy.
find-
That is actually crazy. Who is this guy? I've seen him.
Online on Mac immerses you in a universe with thousands of star systems like.
I have an absolute random amount of greens. I think it's like 1,300 or something. And this is a random vlog.
$125 first hand, random vlog. Gonna play some blackjack, gonna play some roulette, gonna play some slots. We're gonna play everything. We got 125 here. 12 against a king. Yuck. All right, we'll hit it. 15, we'll hit it. Later. 25, 125 down the drain. Let's do some accounting. Let's figure out what we actually have. All right, that's 500. That's 1,000. This is 225. We just lost 125. So we had about 1,350 to start, which makes sense. Oh, a disgusting 20 to beat our table mate. All right, I'm just gonna go 100. That seems right. 100, random vlog. Let's make some money. Come on. A niner. Give us a deuce. Give me a deuce. Oh. If he's got. Uh-oh. 8. Boop, 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 boop. Nice. 22. Perfect. Playing Spanish 22. How you doing? 11. Get out of there. Ugh. Yuck. I'm pushing an L. All right. Max bet. Can't lose 3 in a row. I've never seen anyone lose 3 in a row. It's impossible. It's impossible. I have a 4. Come on. 7. 11. Oh no, a queen ball. Boop, 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 boop. 16, yes. Perfect. 23 for $200. Gotta love it. How can you not? I'm a 10. Oof. Alright, what'd the dealer have? Did it matter? 13. Yuck. Alright, 175. Because it's 1 off of a max, why not?
All right, random vlog update. I have this. This is our blackjack fund. If I lose, I'm going to roulette with that. Let's go. Come on. 175 on this hand. I'll take a 5 for a double. I'll take a 5 for a double one time. A 15. Oh no.
Dude, this guy's
Don't make me do it.
Wow.
Oh no. Here we go. And down $1.75. Down
Holy
like
shit.
8 million trillion billion dollars. 250 left in the blackjack fund. 500 to go to roulette. It's looking grim at Gate City. All right, one hand isn't working. Two hands, 125 each. Let's go. Come on. Come on. One hand is just not working. Dealer would have had a 6. That would be a terrible card for the dealer.
Oh my
Instead,
god.
I get two 15s,
This guy's getting
14s,
the worst
13s,
hand ever.
all versus
Oh,
a
I'd be having
9.
a heart
The worst
attack.
two hands in history. Broke there. Boop, 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 boop.
Give him a 6.
And broke here. Time for roulette.
Oh,
Ooh, 21.
shit.
All right. All right.
He loves that.
It's not necessarily broke yet. Come on. 10. Get out of there. Nice. All right. 250 in our blackjack fund. We got to make it 500 somehow. Come on. Two hands. Double scoopy. A double scoopy. If we have to double, we're going to have to dip into our roulette fund. It's not going to be good. Come on. 6. Deuce. Come on. What do you got, dealer? It's a double. Oh, just kidding. It's an 8. Thought it was a 9. 18, 17 against a frickin' 16. Get out of there, dealer. 16. 17. Winner and a push. All right. I guess I take that. I guess I take that. I'm going to peel this 125 back for the blackjack fund. It's right in the middle. It's for a double if we need it. Come on. There we go. Come on. Oh, one time. I haven't seen a blackjack all day. I haven't seen a blackjack all day. And a double. Uh-oh, here we go. Oh,
Oh
no.
my god.
No even money. No even money. Never even money. Nice. That's right. Never do even money. What are you guys, afraid? What are you, afraid of something? Uh-oh. Different colored chips. Different colored chips alert. Different colored chips alert. Alright, let's hit it. Come on. No. No, I almost doubled it. Bada bink, bada boom. Would have been a 10 for the dealer. 18. Alright, winner and a push over there. That's good. Alright. Back to 125, two hands. This is 175 because of the blackjack. I had no idea where the extra chips came from. Let's do it. Come on. Come on. A 10 and a 7. Another blackjack and an 11. Hold on.
Gotta double it.
No.
Oh my god.
Nice. All right, let's double it. Getting paid on another blackjack. We started with 1350. If I can get back there in blackjack, I might lock that up because it started bad. Everybody's got a soft 15 and a 20. Another blackjack. More differently colored chips. Get those out of there. All right, let's double it, baby. This is the one we need. This is the one we really need. Face down again. You were good last time. Come on. Come on. 5. Come on. 19. The suspense. The suspense. $250. It's a $500 card if it's a 9 or a 10. It's a 5. We lost. GG's. Yuck. All right, we still have that 125 over there. That's huge. That was gross. That was gross. I thought we had that. I'll be honest. All right, let's go. Come on. A 5, a 6. That's great. 4, 5, 6 for the boys. Great. 7, 16. Yep. 10 or an ace or a 10 or an ace. And I'll take a destitute 5 here. And we're dead. This is a blackjack fund right now, $100. I'm gonna parlay it up to a max if we can. And on 16. Ah, it should have been your 21. Yuck. All right, let's go. We got 100 on it. Guy stood on 16. I wouldn't have told him he could play with me if I knew that. Ace. 20. Come on, this is where we make a run. Flip it. Just flip it. Just flip it. 9. I knew that. I knew that was coming. Before he took that card out, I knew it was a 9 because I said that. Yuck. All right, we got $500 for roulette. Let's do it.
All right, so I called an audible. I only came over here with 500, but I threw on an extra 650 just to make our total investment $2,000. We're gonna do a bunch of big spins of roulette, and if we win any money, maybe we'll go play slots, Skate City one time, help us out. This is it. This is the spin. I'm doing 25 on all the numbers, and I'm not including 21, even though we're at Gate City. So be prepared for a lot of 21s. $175 spins. We got a stack, but it's gonna go quick. Let's do it, baby. We gotta hit the numbies. If we can get any profit, we will take it over to slots, but we gotta run this up to 2,000. Our first spin is a big spin. We need help. Come on. I'm sliding a coin in between 4 and 7. Sliding a coin in between 4 and 7. I don't know why. 26 first number. Bang. Bang. That's 900 first number. Can I take 6 blacks with that? I'm going to try to lock up 20 black chips over here. And we're going to see what we can do. Come on. $900 coming back. $875 and I get to keep the quarter. Come on, boys. First spin, that's big. We got a stack here. We got some more ammo coming back. First spin, obviously got a tip. Here we go. 600 locked up over here. Here we go. And I'm gonna press 26 a little. Let's do it, baby. Come on. A back-to-back would be insane. I am gonna put the same coin here. I'm gonna do one more random bet. That's the board right now. We got all this ammo. We got 600 locked up. Let's do it, baby. Come on. Look at that. Basically right next door, 8 and 11. That's the freaking board. A 26 one time again. Come on. A back-to-back 26. Get us out, baby. Get us out of here. Come on. $200 to the dealer for a 26 right here. 200. Almost. 32. Right next to 20. Yeah. That hurt. Same spin. If you're still here, hit a couple buttons and subscribe. I love you. All right, let's do it. This time, I'm going to throw a chip. You can spin. You're good. Thank you. It's landing on 6. It's mostly on 6. Screw 3, am I right? Let's go. And 33. Adding random numbers. It's a random gambling vlog. What do you want? 600 basically locked up, but not really locked up. This is like 700 in my hand. Math. That's a 30, and that's another winner. I'll take 6 more blacks with that. We got 1,200 locked up, but not really locked up. We're actually, uh-oh, I just noticed we're up. That's not good. Now I'm gonna remember that I was up. When I blow it all back, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. 2 numbers equals 2 greens for the dealer. Let's go. Come on. $1,200 back there. Let's just bet what we just won. Absolute hammer job there. Throw a chip, landed on 8. Throw a chip, landed on 28. I like that. Let's do it. That's the board. Come on. We got 1,200 here. We got about 700 here. Disregarding what's in the middle, we're not even up. Nobody freaking freak out. We need one more number. That's all there is to it. Come on, man, a 30. Come on, a 30. I instantly give the dealer this whole stack for a 30. Instantly. Get there. 2! I thought it was going to get at least into 0. Yuck. All right, we take it. Thank you very much, dealer. You lived up to your end of the bargain in the parking lot when you said you'd make me win. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's do it. New dealer, which means it's gonna hit Joshy's birthday. Let's do it. That's the board, plus this, plus that. Wow, it landed on 20. There we go. 4, 5, that's the board. Let's freaking go. Come on, baby. Give me a 30 one time again on Joshy's birthday, back to back. I got about 2 spins left in my hand. We'll see what happens. Let's go.
Wow.
Get there. 21. Oh, I actually put some on it. I forgot. It landed on 20 and the max on the number is 50, so I put it on 21. Let's go. I said I wasn't going to bet 21 this vlog, and when it came out, I actually had it. Let's go.
Let me know.
Huge. Huge rebate there. All right, let's do it. Barely profited on that spin. Let's see what we can do. And there. Absolutely hammering 30. 21 again would be sick. I didn't miss any of the numbers. The ball's spinning. Let's go. Come on. 22? Oh, no. That was close to some things, I think. All right. Back to the regular spin. Regular spin. Although I will go with 30. $200 out there. 375 reserved. Or no, 350. Yikes. Come on. We got 1,200 in big chips. 15. No. 3. 3 is right next to 15. We're going bare bones. Last 2 spins here. Last 2 spins. We got to go bare bones. 175 on the spin. You know the numbers. If we can hit it, either of these spins, we're up on the video, which is insane after the blackjack we played. Come on, drop in. 13. Or, oh my, 0 or 13. Where does it go? 1. All right. Let's go. All right. I'm going to lock up 1,000, so we'll only lose 1,000. I'll do one more spin if we need it, but we're not going to need it. We're going to hit this. Let's go. I just got to show the roulette wheel who's boss. Come on. Give me it. Give me it. Get there. 26 for the freaking win, baby. You know what it is. Give me 8 blacks. Yeah, 8 blacks. Let's go. This 1,200 is now 2,000.
That's so
5. Profit again. Check this out. That's what we bought in for. This is what the dealer gets. And can I get reds for this? We're gonna do one more spin, see if we get to play slots. If we hit the slot, if we hit the spin, we're putting it all into slots. Let's go. All right, last spin, baby. If we can hit a numbie, we're going to slots. If not, we broke dead even, and I'm sure I'm not gonna go to slots anyway. $2,000, let's go. Come on. What can we do here? What can we do here? What's the slot budget? 0! Dang, the slot budget's $360. Hell yeah. I'll take 3 blacks and the rest red, whatever. 300 going to slots. Oh, no, all good. 3 blacks for me, that for you. I love you, baby. I love you. 2,300 out, 300 in the slots, let's go. Few things are better than walking to the cage knowing you got free slots to play, baby. 2 slots, $150 each. I don't know what we're gonna play. All right, baby, we got all of our vlog money back, $2,000 in the pocket, but as you know, we have $300 in free slots. So I'm here at Moon Goddess. I'm gonna put all 300 in, but I'm only gonna do $150 in spins. I love you, this went well. All right, baby, $10 a spin. Like I said, $150 is our floor. We'll pull out and go to another slot. Come on. I don't know what the bonus is. Obviously, I need the hold and spin, but I don't know what the other symbol is yet. I'm sure it'll show it to me. Ooh, is it that guy? I mean, it looks like it's that circle thing. Yeah, looks like that circle thing for sure. Come on. $2 back. This is not going well. Are those wilds? They are wild. 17 bucks. Our first profitable spin. Ooh. Mini here's 100.
Not bad. Come on. Only going down to 150 here. Then we got, ooh, that's definitely the symbol. And we needed on reels 2, 3, and 4. Major. Oh, major's 388. Whatever. Didn't even want 388. Come on. Coins, all coins. Kings? That's $5 worth of kings. Never give me kings again. How about that? All right, buddy? We have like 3 spins left, I think. Come on. Come on. Ooh, wilds. Didn't pay anything, but they were wild. Come on. Oof. Expose the mystery symbol. Come on. Last full spin. Just kidding. We'll do one more full spin. 149 for the next slot. And we bricked it.
That's right, baby. I found the worst one of these machines ever, according to stupid people. Must have just been a triple pop or something. I'm gonna go with 960 per spin, and we're gonna hit something. Come on. Come on, baby. Why not us? Alright. Alright, sure. Go up 1 ring. I bet you go up all of the rings. Double pop. Nope, bricked it. Come on. These are all free. As you know, we got smoked in blackjack and then made a ton in roulette from the numbers. So I don't even care about this. You know what? I'm going to go to $24 a spin. No one wants to sit here betting $9. Oh, almost. $24 spin. Why not us? Let's hit the bonus on a $24 spin, huh? Oof. It's building, but it doesn't mean nothing. Oh my God. $750 ball? Nothing. 2 spins left. Come on. Another $7,500 ball? I mean, $750 ball? Oh, that was the last spin? I don't even know how that happened. Did we hit it, though? No, we did not. 330 for the next guy. Later.
Ah, the old sun hit in the face, and for once, I didn't get freaking absolutely smoked. We take it 2,000 into 2,000. What a day. I love you guys. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. Random gambling complete.
Damn.
On Miro, teams work faster on the new Innovation Workspace. Innovation belongs on Miro.
When you go rogue, you don't just settle for a little flavor. You want flavors that pack a punch.
Oh my God. No, thank you, Diddy.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my life as an advantaged blackjack player. Today I'll be taking you back to Las Vegas and showing you what it's like to take on the casinos through my eyes as a card counter. In my last video, we hit up Durango, Red Rock, Suncoast, and Rampart. I was able to take home $3,100 over those 4 sessions, which was a nice win, and I was hoping to keep that momentum going. For anyone new here, I'm playing blackjack, and I'm using the high-low counting method to determine when I have an advantage. As my advantage increases, I will bet exponentially higher. My bet spread is on screen, and as you can see, I play from table minimum up to either one hand of $2,000 if I'm solo, or 2 hands of $1,200 if I'm playing with other people at the table. I also play using perfect basic strategy as well as some count-based deviations. These charts dictate everything I do. I'm pretty much just a robot that plays perfect blackjack. If you guys want to learn exactly what I'm doing, check out my How to Count Cards video. Link is in the description and it has everything you need to know to get up to speed on what I'm doing. The first spot I'm hitting is a casino called Santa Fe. They have a pretty decent double deck game here, so naturally I wanted to try it out. I had just played at one of their sister properties a few hours earlier, so I wasn't expecting to get much time here. Regardless, I had to go check it out because who knows, maybe the staff just isn't paying attention that day or they're just preoccupied with other stuff. If that was the case, there is a chance I could get a good session in. As per usual, once I got into the casino, I made a beeline for the double deck table with hopes of a record-breaking session. I bought in and started playing minimum bets until the count went up. For anyone new here, I skipped through the negatives and only showed the positive counts because that's where the exciting action is. I played a few hands into this first shoe until the count hit a true 1. I raised my bet from table minimum to one hand of $100 and was dealt a 13 versus dealer's 10. I promptly turned it into a 24 and lost this first hand. After this one hand at true 1, the count went negative for the rest of the shoe, so I was back to minimum bets. After the shuffle, I played some more negatives at the beginning of the next shoe until the count hit a true 1 for the second time. I was dealt a 16 versus ace. I had no option to surrender, so I had to hit and got dealt a 10 for 26. So far, so bad. The count dropped down into the negatives for a few hands after this until right at the end of the shoe where it raised to a true 3. I had to buy in to fund my next hand of $400. I put it out there and crossed my fingers for some better cards. I was dealt a soft 18 versus dealer's 10, which I hit on and turned into a hard 18. The dealer ended up drawing to 22, so finally we got paid. That was the last positive count in this shoe, so let's fast forward to the next one. This here is a great example of how the high-low system works. I have a fresh shoe here, meaning the dealer just shuffled and we were starting a new game. As I've explained before, in the high-low system, cards that are valued 2 through 6 are low cards, and every time I see one, I add one to the running count. 7, 8, and 9 are neutral, I'll just ignore them, and 10s and aces are high cards. Whenever I see one of these, I subtract one from the running count. As the dealer starts dealing cards, I'll start updating that running count. Because it's a new shoe, I'll start at 0. Here I was dealt a high card and a low card together, which will cancel each other out. Dealer had an 8, so running count is still 0. I'm dealt a 6, so I add 1 to the running count, and the dealer flips a 6 and a 9, so I add another 1 to the running count for the 6 that was dealt. We now have a running count of 2, with 2 decks remaining to be dealt. So if I divide my running count of 2 by those 2 decks, I'm left with a true count of 1. This means I'm upping my bet to $100. I'll update the running count for the next couple of hands and see if you can follow along. I'm dealt a 7 versus dealer's 10. I hit and get a 10 for 17, which I stay on. Dealer flips an 8 for 18, so I lose this one. Count is still a true 1, so I put out another bet of $100. I'm dealt a 13 versus dealer's 6. I stay and the dealer draws a 10 and then a 9 for a bust. Running count is still 2, we're still dividing by the 2 decks remaining to be dealt, so true count is still at 1. One more bet of $100 and finally we get a nice little blackjack, which is great, but also means the count has now dipped into the negative. This means I'm back down to minimum bets until it goes up again. I hope this example has helped some of you who are new to this to see the system in action. I'm just constantly repeating that running count in my head, updating it for every card that comes out, and every once in a while we get very high true counts, which means high advantage for me, and that's why I raise my bets higher. The casino staff knows all of this, and they could do the exact same thing I'm doing, count the shoe down with me, and if they see that I'm raising my bets as the count goes up, they know I'm playing with an advantage, and they'll come and ask me to stop. Anyways, the count went absolutely abysmal for the rest of this shoe, so after a shuffle we got into hopefully a better one. Things began looking up right away. The count hit a true 1 very quickly, so I put out $100. I was dealt a 13 versus 4. I stood and the dealer drew to 21, so that was a loss. All those small cards brought the count up to a true 2, and I raised my bet to $200. I was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 3. Of course I stood and the dealer drew to a bust, so we won this hand. The count dropped back down to a true 1, and I was dealt a 5 versus dealer's 10. I hit it all the way into a 22, so that was a bust, but hey, at least we were back up to a true 2. I was dealt a 16 versus dealer 7. I hit and got an ace amazingly. I was hoping for a push, but the dealer also drew an ace, so this hand lost. Back down to a $100 bet, I was dealt 13 versus dealer's 10. I didn't get a chance to play this one because the dealer had blackjack. After this, the count dropped down to 0 for one hand, but quickly recovered to a true 3. I put out a hand of $400 and was dealt a 14 versus dealer's 6. I stood, hoping for the dealer bust, and luckily she did just that, so we were paid out on this one. Count dropped back down, so I lowered my bet to $200. I was dealt a 7 versus dealer's 5. I turned my 7 into a 17. Dealer also drew to 17, so this hand was a push. That was a lot of low cards that just came out, and the count had now jumped to a true 5. This means one hand of 1200, and if there was ever a time to get some good cards, let it be now. Sadly, I was dealt a pair of 2s versus dealer's ace, so this means I was pulling out cash to buy insurance. Thankfully, it wasn't in vain because the dealer did have blackjack, meaning we lost no money on this hand. We had one more shot at glory as the count was now officially a true 6, meaning one hand of $1,500. I put it out there and was dealt a 15 versus dealer's 8, and I had no choice but to hit.
Bruh.
Sadly, luck was not on my side here. This hand busted, but the count was still massive, so there was hope for redemption. I pulled out some cash and tried to buy in to fund another hand of $1,500.
Yeah. Thanks. No worries.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, have a good night.
So unfortunately, just like the end of my last video, I was backed off in a massive count, which really sucks. Nothing I can do but move on to the next spot. All in all, I got 17 minutes here at Santa Fe, and my hourly EV was 1,850. I haven't touched on it in this video yet, but EV stands for expected value. It's an hourly rate that's calculated based on game conditions, speed, and bet sizes. Lastly, I had a session loss of $945, not the result we were hoping for, but it's all part of the game. I wasted no time moving on to my next spot, which was a casino called Aliante. They have a very similar double deck game here to what I was just playing, and you guys saw how much that last one was worth. There was potential here to make a lot of money. When I got inside, I found the table I wanted, which had a couple other players at it. I looked around and saw two tables with identical games, except for the table max was lower at $500. Even though my max bet would be limited on these tables, they were actually worth more EV than playing with two other people at the higher limit tables, because other people slow the game down like crazy. I took a seat at the lower limit table and started to buy in.
Yeah, I'm going over there. Thanks, anyways. I want to get my foot, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to play alone.
As you guys just saw, as soon as I sat down here, another person joined the table. This is always slightly annoying for us as advantaged players. It wasn't a private table, I can't ask him to leave, but since there was another table right beside this one that was empty, I jumped over and played there instead. Playing with just one other person cuts my expected value nearly in half, so I always try to play with as little people as possible, especially in Vegas where sessions are so short. Luckily, on this second table, I got it all to myself, so let's see if we can make some money. On a side note, thank you everyone for watching today, and if you're new, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. There's always more to come, and if you're interested in supporting me further, check out my YouTube memberships. The count rose very quickly on this shoe. I only played 3 hands at minimum bet before the count hit a true 2. I was changing up my bet spread on this table ever so slightly due to the lower table max, so I raised my bet to 2 hands of 200. My first hand was dealt a 19 and my second hand was an 8. Dealer was showing 4, so I stood my first hand and hit my second hand, getting an ace for another 19. It was all up to the dealer now, and he made us proud by drawing to 22, so both my hands were paid. The count was now a true 3, and I raised my bet to 2 hands of 300. I was dealt 2 12s versus dealer's 3, which I stood on. This is a deviation that occurs at a true 2, otherwise I would have hit. Luckily, the dealer ended up busting, and both these hands were paid. Hoping to keep this momentum going, I raised my bet to 2 hands of 500, seeing as it was a true count of 4 or higher. I was dealt a 17 and a 16 versus dealer's 8, which ain't pretty. I stood the 17 and turned the 16 into a 26. Dealer flipped a 10 for 18, so both hands ended up losing here. The count was still there for the 2 hands of 500, so I bought in for more and tried again. I was dealt a soft 20 and a 12 versus dealers 3. I stood on both hands, again deviating from basic strategy for the 12. Dealer ended up drawing to 22, so we were able to make a bit of a comeback here. Count was still a true 4 or higher, and finally we got to an interesting hand. I was dealt a soft 14 and a 20 versus dealer 6. This was a chance to make some real money, so I doubled my soft 14 and split my 10s. My first 10 split got a 9 for 19, so I stood that, and the second split got another 10. Count was still there, so I bought in and resplit the 10s a second time. You can be certain that all eyes were on me at this point, but I couldn't miss out on this opportunity. I got another 10 for my second split hand, but the count had now dipped below a true 4, so I didn't split this one. My final split hand received a 5 for 15, so I had a 14, a 19, a 20, and a 15 versus dealer 6. All the dealer had to do was bust. Like, please bust. Unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards today. The dealer drew to 20 somehow, so I lost most of the money I had wagered. You hate to see it, and trust me when I say it gets worse than that. Much worse at times. Anyways, the count was back up to a true 4, so I put out another 2 hands of 500. I was dealt a soft 18 and a 12 versus dealer's ace. The count had dropped below a true 2.5 at this point in time, so I didn't take insurance. Of course, the dealer did have blackjack this time, so I lost both these hands. We were now down to a true 1, so I lowered my bet to $100. I was dealt a soft 18 versus dealer 7, which I stood on, and just to add insult to injury, the dealer drew to 21. The count went negative for the last hand of the shoe, so I dropped down to minimum bet. I really want to tell you guys it turned around for me, but sadly after this I played almost 2 full shoes in negative counts until the surveillance team paid me a visit.
I identified you as an advantage player.
Yeah. No more blackjack for me. They got to me before I had a chance to make it back, or make it worse. Either way, I was done here. I lasted a whopping 13 minutes, my average hourly EV was $935, and I managed to leave $1,965 poorer. Continuing on, I made my way to my next spot, which was a casino called Cannery. They have an identical game to what I was just playing, except it's pitched, meaning the dealer deals the cards face down. This is a sister property to Aliante, so I was likely not going to last very long. I got in there and scoped out the conditions and ran into a similar situation to Aliante. The $1,000 max table was very busy, but the $500 max wasn't. Of course, I opted for the $500 max table in order to maximize my EV. I sat down, started playing, and the count quickly began to rise. We hit a true 1, so I threw out $100 and was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 10. Of course, I stood and the dealer drew to 22, so this one was a win. The count dipped back into the negative for one hand before returning back to a true 1. I was dealt an 8 versus a dealer's 2, which I turned into a 19. Dealer drew to 18, so this one was also a win. All of those small cards brought the count up to a true 4, so I raised my bet to 2 hands of 500. I was dealt 2 17s versus a dealer's 8, which I stood on. The dealer drew to 18 in the most annoying way possible, so I lost both of these hands. The count was now up to a true 5 or higher, so I tried to raise my bet to 3 hands of 500. They didn't allow playing 3 hands at the previous casino I was at, but I was hoping they allowed it here, even though it's a sister property.
It's only 450 in here for 3 hands.
That says 500, doesn't it?
Table limit is 500, so 3 hands is 300.
Oh.
And then 2 hands is 400.
Well, she just let me play 2 hands of 500 and I lost them both, so.
Okay, so we're gonna give you 200 back. You gotta look at the table, baby, okay?
Yeah, like I'm not mad or anything. Like I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just explain quickly what happened there. I was allowed to play 3 hands, but at this casino, as you increase your hands, your betting limit goes down. So even though the table max was $500, at 2 hands the max was $400, and at 3 hands the max was $300. This was slightly annoying, but the game was still very playable. I may or may not have seen the sign displaying this rule and attempted to play 3 hands of 500 anyways. I guess we'll just never know. Anyways, it looks like 2 by 400 was going to be my table max for today, So I put him out there and was dealt a handful of nothing, which didn't even matter because the dealer had a blackjack, so both of my shitty hands lost. I put out another 2 hands of 400 and was dealt a 20 and a 19 versus dealer's 10. I stood on both and the dealer flipped a 10 for 20, so I lost one hand and pushed the other. The count dropped down to a true 2, so I lowered my bet to one hand of $200. I was dealt a 13 versus 10, which I amazingly turned into a 20 and stood. Dealer drew to 17, so we actually won a hand. After this, the count was down to a true 1, so I lowered my bet to one hand of 100. I was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 8. Of course, I stood, and the dealer drew to 18, so this one also won. It always feels nice to have a bunch of my big bets lose, and then as soon as I lower my bet, I start winning. Just feels great. So lucky. We were now back to minimum bets for the rest of the shoe, so let's fast forward to the next one where it hit a true 1. I threw out a bet of $100 and was dealt a 12 versus dealer's 5. I stood and the dealer drew to 25, so this one was also a win. I left my bet out and was dealt an 18 versus dealer's 10. I stood and the dealer drew to 20, so we lost this one. The count was back into the negative, so I dropped my bet and waited for it to go up again. After a few hands, the count went up to a true 2, so I tried raising my bet to 2 hands of $200.
Okay, sir. Can I talk to you for a minute, please?
Sure. I'll call it back. I'll just go.
Okay. You can't play table games here anymore, okay? You can play slot machine or whatever.
Okay, I'll get right on that. Yeah.
Okay, no table games.
Yeah.
Thank you. Change 100.
Looks like no more table games for me, so that means I was out of here. All in all, I got 10 minutes in, my hourly EV was $565, and I left with a loss of $1,525. That means we were on our third losing session in a row. This is totally normal, but still, it never feels great. The only way to make any of it back is to go and start another session, so I did just that. The next spot I set my sights on was a casino called Sunset Station. They have a great double deck game here. It can be worth a ton if the conditions are right, and it may be just what I need to win some of this money back. Armed with several $1,000s and a dream, I got in there and made my way to the double deck table. I knew my time here would be quick because this casino is a sister property to Santa Fe, which was the first spot I played in this video. I wasted no time buying in and starting a shoe. The first one I played was entirely negative counts, so I didn't raise my bet once. However, shortly into the next one, the count hit a true 2. Since I wasn't playing solo, I was on my 2-hand spread, and I raised my bet to 2 hands of 200. I was dealt a 19 and a 20 versus dealer's 8, and I stood on both of them. Dealer flipped a 10 for 18, so both my bets were paid. That was the only positive count for this second shoe, so I played minimum bets until the shuffle. On my third shoe, I finally got into some consistent positive counts. Almost immediately, I raised my bet to $100 and was dealt a 10 versus dealer's 2. I doubled and received an ace for 21, dealer drew to 17, so this double was paid out. Count was now up to a true 3, and I raised my bet to 2 hands of 300. I was dealt a 20 and a blackjack versus dealer's 5. This is what's supposed to happen in the high counts. My blackjack was paid, and I stood my 20, dealer drew to 23, so my first hand also won. All those big cards brought the count down to a true 1, and I lowered my bet to $100. I was dealt a 14 versus dealer's 8. I hit and turned it into a 19. Dealer flipped a 10 for 18, so I won this hand. I left my bet out and was dealt a 12 versus dealer's 8. I turned this into a 22, so that was no good. After this hand played out, the count rose back up to a true 3, so I raised my bet to 2 hands of 300. I was dealt a 17 and a 19 versus dealer's 9. I stood on both, expecting a push and a loss. But to my surprise, the dealer actually busted their hand. This means both my hands were paid and I was grinning. That was the last positive count of this shoe, so let's fast forward to the next one. Once again, the count started to raise quickly and we hit a true 1. I threw out my $100 bet and was dealt an 8 versus dealer's 5. Through some master strategic hitting, I managed to turn it into a 21. Dealer busted, so this one was a win. The count had raised to a true 2, so I upped my bet to 2 hands of 200. I was dealt a 10 and a 14 versus dealer's 9. I doubled my 10 and turned it into a 20, so that was nice. Unfortunately, I wasn't so lucky on my 14. Dealer flipped a 9 for 18, so at least my double was paid. The count dipped down to a true 1, and I lowered my bet to $100. I was dealt a 15 versus dealer 7. I hit and got a 6 for 21. The dealer also drew to 21, so this was a push, but overall I had been very lucky on this session so far. I was hoping that kept up because the count was now a true 7, which means I was raising my bet to 2 hands of $1,200. I'll let this one play out in real time for you guys.
I don't got one. You want some pink? Yeah, sure.
It doesn't get much better than that. Somehow I pulled a 7 on my 14 with max bets out. As I'm watching this, I can barely believe my eyes. The heat was definitely on at this point. I didn't catch it in frame, but there was phone calls being made, and it was very obvious that my back off was imminent. The count was bordering on a true 4, and I wasn't letting them back me off in a super high count again. I rushed to get another 2 hands of 400 out because this was still a very advantageous situation for me. I was dealt a soft 15 and a 9 versus a dealer's 10, so I had some work to do. I actually f***ed up this first hand because I stood my 14 against dealer's 10. I must have thought that I had a 15 here. It's the only reason I would have done that, and I was just playing quickly, so yeah, I made a mistake. We all make them once in a while, and it's just part of the game. You try to minimize them, though. I turned my 9 into a 19, but it was no use as the dealer had a 10 underneath. That means that both my hands lost, and since that was the last hand of the shoe, I decided to color up and leave. I knew my time was up, so I headed to the cashier. I didn't catch it on film, but some surveillance staff came up to me after I cashed out and called me by name. They were friendly and pretty much just said, "Nice win, we'll get you back next time." It was funny, and I really wish I'd cut it on film, and it kind of shows that these guys are lighthearted about it. They're not taking it super seriously. Obviously, they'd still come back me off, though, so they're not that chill. All in all, I got 23 minutes here, my hourly EV was $861, and I finished with a nice little win of $3,700. This was an awesome session for me. I had some great variance, and it felt good to win back most of what I lost earlier. At the end of the day, it's all about long-term numbers, and any one single session doesn't mean much, but still, it never feels bad to win. The final net loss for this video was $735 over 1 hour and 3 minutes of play. Not the result I was hoping for, but as you guys saw, it could have been much worse. I'm going to end it here for the day. One thing I want to address quick is some of you asking about my Bellagio video, which I alluded to in my first Vegas video. It's going to be my finale for this Vegas trip series. I want to wait as long as possible until I post it for a number of reasons that I can't really get into. Just know that it is coming eventually, and it's going to be a good one. With that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
These are awesome. So very entertaining. Shout out Quattro AP. I'm kind of a dickhead to doing so, but they're the enemy, so it's fair.
you from the property.
Return to the property can result in the same actions being taken by trespassing. You can't play blackjack here anymore.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my life as an advantaged blackjack player. Once again, we will be visiting Las Vegas, where I'll be showing you some more POV sessions and interactions with casino surveillance. In my last video, I tried out Ellis Island, the Palms, and Orleans. I got a couple decent sessions in there, and I profited $3,125 for the day. Could have easily gone the other way, so it was nice to finish with some wins. For anyone new here, I am playing blackjack, and I'm using the high-low counting method to determine when I have an advantage and betting higher when I do. My bet spread is on the screen, and as you can see, I play from table minimum up to either one hand of 2,000 if I'm solo, or 2 hands of 1,200 if I'm playing with other people at the table. I also play using perfect basic strategy as well as some count-based deviations. I'm never guessing what the next move is. I follow these charts to a T for all my playing decisions. If you guys want to learn exactly what I'm doing, check out my How to Count Cards video. Link is in the description, and it has everything you need to know. We will get right into it today, visiting a casino called Westgate, which is just off the strip. They have a 6-deck Hit 17 shoe game, which I was hoping to play and generate some EV. As per usual, the dealer asked for my ID to confirm my age. She checked it quickly and gave it back to me, so I figured I was in the clear. I started out with some minimum bets, but already phone calls were being made. Before too long, I was approached by some pit staff who had some bad news for me.
My name is Quinn Richards. I'm the casino shift manager. Just to let you know, we don't want you gambling in our casino. Okay, I have security coming right now to trespass you from the property.
So yeah, pretty quick back off here, and they were going as far as to trespass me because they didn't want me to try coming back. Off I went to the cage to cash my chips in. This place either had facial recognition or they had zoomed in on my ID when I gave it to the dealer. I've been backed off here before, and obviously they keep very good track of their records. I get people in the comments asking me if I eventually will just get trespassed everywhere, and how am I supposed to keep doing this if that happens? While that is somewhat of a concern in other areas of the US, getting trespassed isn't super common in my experience, and in Nevada specifically, they will expire after 2 years. So while yes, the trespasses can keep you from playing some games, there is still many games to play in the meantime. Finally, after some waiting in line, it was time to cash my chips out.
That's funny.
They already know who I am. I'll just take the cash.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. 675.
Yeah, I hear you. I won't be back.
Okay, no worries.
Now usually with a trespass, they'll just follow you to the door and make sure you leave the premises. All they have to do is verbally say that you're trespassed and you're no longer allowed on the property. If you return while trespassed, you will be subject to arrest. I'll get another crack at these guys in 2 years, but till then, I'm gonna have to stay away.
Stature 207.200, what states if you do have to park the property after be duly notified, surveillance or security, you face the result of a detainment for a misdemeanor, and your subsequent return to the property can result in the same actions being taken by for trespassing.
Okay. Do you mind if I wait here for my ride?
We'll keep an eye on you right there, but besides that, as long as you're leaving, that's all good. Thank you. Sure.
So after that display, I decided to head off strip to some of the less popular Vegas casinos. Many of these off-strip games are very high quality as they have good conditions in order to incentivize people to come to their casinos. Believe it or not, many regular gamblers care about game rules and conditions because they want to play what they consider a fair game. That's why you don't see 6-5 blackjack and continuous shufflers at every casino, and that's why it's probably going to stay that way for a very long time. The first place I headed to was a place called Durango. Here I was looking at a double-deck shoe game. Dealer hits soft 17, double after split is allowed, double on any first 2 cards is allowed, and you may resplit aces. However, there is no surrender. I started out here at the main floor and played a $50 minimum bet. As always, I started playing at minimum and waited for the count to go up. For anyone new here, I always skip through the negative counts, so let's fast forward to some higher bets. Quickly before we do that, I just want to say thank you all for the continued support. We just hit 20k subscribers recently, and as always, it's great to see the growth on the channel. If you're new, be sure to like and subscribe, and don't be afraid to leave me some feedback. I read every comment. I also have some new perks available through Patreon or YouTube memberships. If you want to support me further, check them out. Now let's get into the action. We started off with an ID check right as I bought in. I handed it over, the pit boss checked my age and gave it back. It looked like we were in the clear for now. I started a new shoe and I played some negatives for a little bit until near the end where the count raised to a true 2. Since I wasn't the only player at the table, I was using my 2-hand spread and I put out 2 hands of 200. I was dealt a 12 and a 20 versus dealer's 10, and for all you OG viewers, you guys know how my 12s usually go. I hit expecting to get a 22 and bust, but amazingly I pulled a 9 for 21, so I stood on both hands. Dealer flipped a 10 for 20, so I pushed one and won the other. The count had now dropped below a true 1, and I was back to minimum bets.
You know what I mean?
This was the
I gotta go
only
wait until
positive
he's
count
down
in the whole shoe, and we shuffled
and like
shortly
boot him
after.
before the count
The
raises.
next shoe was also quite negative, and we didn't get a positive count until right near the end. We hit a true 1, so I put out my one hand of 100. I was dealt a 19 versus dealer's 9. I stood, and the dealer drew to 22, so this one was a win. I left out my $100 bet and was dealt a 17 versus dealer's ace. I didn't buy insurance as the count was below a true 3 and the dealer didn't have it. I had no option to surrender, so I stood, and the dealer ended up drawing to 23, so this one was also a win. The count had now raised to a true 2, so out went my two hands of 200. I was dealt a 20 and a 4 versus dealer's 10. Of course, I stood the 20 and I hit the 4 all the way into a 24, so that was a bust. Dealer flipped an 8 for 18, so at least my first hand won. That was the last hand of the shoe, and the table was now starting to fill up with some other players. Before I sat down at this table, I had done some recon and saw that there was another high quality game in the high limit room. I decided to color up and head over there in hopes of getting a quicker game. The faster the game, the more rounds per hour I get, and more rounds per hour means higher EV. There was only one person at this table in high limit as opposed to 3 other players on the main floor, meaning this game was over twice as fast. Even though there was a higher minimum bet of $100, the faster speed of the game meant it was actually worth more EV, so of course I sat down here. I sat around for a minute until the current shoe finished up and hopped in on the next one. Since the minimum bet was now $100, I'll generally just show counts of true 2 or above because that will be my first betting increase from table minimum. I'm going to make an exception for this first hand because it shows you just how quickly the count could raise on these double deck games. This was the first hand of the shoe, so the running count is currently 0. The player beside me was dealt an 8 and a 4, so that brings our running count up to 1. I was dealt a 6 and a 5, so running count is now 3. Dealer is showing a 5 for a running count of 4. Cards valued 2 through 6 are called low cards and are worth +1 in the high-low count system. That's why I'm adding to the running total. I doubled and received a 6 for a running count of 5. Dealer flipped a 6 and then a 7 for a total running count of +6 after this first hand. Not a single face card was dealt to the table this hand, and instantly we were playing at an advantage. There were still 2 decks remaining to be dealt, so I divided my running count of 6 by 2 and was left with a true count of 3. That means it was time for 2 hands of 300. This is a great real-time example of the high-low counting system in action, and if you guys want to learn all about it, check out my How to Count Cards video. It goes into depth on all of this. So anyways, like I said, we were at a true 3, and I put out my 2 hands of 300. I was dealt a 16 and a 20 versus dealer's 10. I couldn't surrender my 16, so I stood on it, which is a deviation that occurs in any positive count versus a dealer's 10. I also stood my 20, and the dealer flipped a 9 for 19, so I lost one hand and won the other. The running count was now down to 3, which means a true count of 1, so I will show this next bet of $100. I was dealt a 20 versus dealer's ace. I didn't buy insurance and stood. Dealer drew to 19, so this hand was a win. The count had now raised to a true 2, so out went my 2 hands of 200. I was dealt an 18 and a 19 versus dealer's 4, and I stood on both. Dealer ended up drawing to 18.
Boo.
So I was paid on one hand and pushed the other. After this hand, the count went negative for a little while, right up until the very end of the shoe when it skyrocketed to a true 6. I had to buy in to fund my 2 hands of $1,000, and this definitely got some attention. I put him out there and was dealt 2 hands of 20 versus a dealer's 2. I was feeling pretty confident that I'd win these 2 hands.
Bruh.
So yeah, the dealer drew to 20, meaning both hands pushed, which is better than losing, but is still very lame, so I wasn't feeling very happy about that. Count was now down to a true 4, so I lowered my bet to 2 hands of 500. I was dealt a soft 13 and a pair of aces versus dealer's 10. I turned my soft 13 into a 23, so that was no good. I split the aces, turning them into a hand of 21 and 17. Dealer flipped a 10 for 20, so I lost one hand of the split and won the other. That was the last hand of the shoe, so we shuffled up and I was back to minimum bets. The count must have been true 1 here because I doubled my 9 against a dealer's 2, which is a deviation that occurs at a true 1. Dealer ended up busting, so my double was paid. The count had now raised to a true 3, and out went my 2 hands of 300. I was dealt a 16 and a 14 versus dealer's ace, which is quite garbage. Here's a situation I've ran into a few times in my videos and you guys have left comments about. Yes, the count was true 3 when I placed the bets, and yes, on screen it says true 3 right now, but if you look at the cards on the table, you'll see the running count has dropped, which means we are no longer at a true 3. Therefore, I'm not going to buy insurance. Technically, insurance is profitable at a true 2.5 in double deck, but the count wasn't there, so I didn't buy it. Luckily, the dealer didn't have it, but unluckily, I busted both my hands and lost my $600. The count dipped down and I was back to minimum bets for a few hands until it recovered to a true 2. I put out my 2 hands of 200 and was dealt a blackjack and a soft 17 versus a dealer's 8. The blackjack was paid out and I proceeded to turn the soft 17 into a 24, so that was a bust. That was the last positive hand of the shoe. We played one more hand before shuffling and getting into a new one. Before long, the count started to go up and we hit a true 3. I put out my 2 hands of 300 and was dealt a 17 and a 20 versus dealer's 10. I stood on both and was hoping for the dealer bust. Unfortunately, the dealer had 20, so I pushed one hand and lost the other. After this, I played several hands at table minimum until the last hand of the shoe, where the count jumped up to a true 4. This means I was raising my bet to 2 hands of 500. I'll let this hand play out in real time for you guys with no commentary.
I'll take one of those too. Wow. Sir. Okay.
So as you just saw, it was a great last hand. I was dealt a 16 and a 20 versus dealer 7. I hit the 16 into a 21 and both hands ended up winning. That was the last hand I'd get to play here as they backed me off right after, so I was on to the next spot. My total session here was 33 minutes. My average hourly EV was $902 and my total session profit was $125. My next spot was a casino called Red Rock. They're owned by the same company as Durango and they have an identical double deck game. Since I just got backed off at one of their sister properties, I was expecting a quick back off, but you never know what's going to happen, so it's always worth checking. I got in there and sat down, bought in, and started playing some minimum bets. There was no ID check this time, but phone calls were being made and it was obvious I wasn't going to last here. Eventually the count went up to a true 1, so I got a $100 bet out. I was dealt a 15 versus dealer's 3, which I stood on, and the dealer drew to 20, so this hand was a loss.
I'll just go.
As expected, I got the back off very quickly this time because I just hit their sister property beforehand. I know some of you are probably typing in the comments right now wondering why I would even go here right after hitting a sister property, and that's a fair question. I was trying to do all these off-strip casinos in one go because I only had a few days here in Vegas and I wasn't the only one who needed to use the rental car. So even if the back-offs were quick, I was still going to hit these properties back-to-back and hope to catch a shift sleeping. I played for a total of 3 minutes here. The EV can't even be calculated on such a short session, so I'm just going to call it 0. And I left with a loss of $125. My next spot was a casino called Suncoast. They offer a very similar game to the station properties with all the game rules being identical. I got in there, bought in, and started playing. They did ask for my ID here, so I had no choice but to hand it over if I wanted to play. After they checked it, I was allowed to start playing. I played 2 entire shoes in the negative until finally the count hit a true 2, so I raised my bet from table minimum to 2 hands of 200.
You can't play blackjack here.
Once again, another quick back off. This session was actually negative EV because I didn't get to place any bets in a positive count, which sucks. All in all, my session was 7 minutes and I lost $100. Nothing to do but move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
Which brings us to Rampart.
Once the count starts
This is
going up,
another
it's proven.
off-strip casino with an identical game to Suncoast. It has the exact same rules and deck penetration. The communication between the casino surveillance was very good today, so I wasn't expecting to get much time here. There was no ID check here and I was allowed to just start playing. The count immediately began to rise on the first shoe and we hit a true 1. I put out my $100 bet and was dealt a 17 versus dealer's 10. I stood and the dealer drew to 19, so this one was a bust. My bet stayed out and I was dealt a 16 versus 10. Since we were in a positive count, I stood, but it was no use as the dealer had a 10 underneath. After this, I played a hand at minimum bet, and that was just enough to get the count up to a true 2. Since I wasn't playing solo, I put out 2 hands of 200. I was dealt 2 20s versus a dealer's 10, and of course I stood on both. The dealer flipped a 9 for 19, so both hands were paid. The count had now dipped back into the negatives for one hand, so I dropped down to minimum bet. After this hand, the person playing beside me dropped out of the game, so I was now playing solo, which is great because the next hand saw the count raise to a true 2. I was back to my one-hand spread, so I put out a hand of 200 and was dealt a 6 versus dealer's 9. I drew to 16 and stood, but ultimately the dealer drew to 20, so this one was a loss. 16 will stand against 9 at a true count of 4 or higher for anyone wondering why I did that. All those low cards brought the count up to a true 6, which means it was time for a big bet. I had to buy in several hundred to fund this next hand of $1,500, and after that was all finished up, I put it out there. I was dealt a soft 19 versus dealer 6, which means I was pulling out even more cash to double this hand. All of a sudden, this became a $3,000 hand, and I was hoping for something great. At this point, the pit boss was definitely taking notice of me.
You have ID, sir?
Yeah. After I handed over my ID, the pit boss stopped the play for almost 2 whole minutes as she took it over to her counter and called it in. I knew this was very likely going to be my last hand, so I was really hoping to win this one. Finally, she returned my ID and we got back into the action. The dealer dealt my double card, played out their hand, and boom! Dealer drew to 25, meaning I had just won this $3,000 hand. Always feels nice because I easily could have been rug pulled here. Especially when we see that my double had turned my hand into a 13, meaning there was so many ways I could have just lost. But it worked out this time, so I can't complain at all. After I was paid out, the count had risen to a true 7, and I tried to put out another bet of $2,000. What color? So yeah, as soon as I tried to place another big bet, she called for a shuffle and then backed me off. It's a shame I missed out on that true 7 bet because it was a very advantageous situation for me. I was leaving with a profit, but it still stings to get backed off in a very high count like that. While this was another short session, it was very profitable. All in all, I played a whopping 6 minutes, my hourly EV was $950, and my total profit was $2,925. A nice short-term win, but it would have been nice to sit there a little while longer and generate some more EV. I'm going to cut the video off here for today, and thank you guys so much for watching. In the time I've been editing this video, we've surpassed 30,000 subscribers, and that's just so awesome to see, so thank you guys so much. As always, more videos to come. I still have lots of Vegas footage, as well as a whole month-long US trip I did, so there's enough footage to make videos for forever, it seems. If you're new, once again, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
Check out the newest strength equipment at Planet Fitness. Join today for $1 down and save. We're trying new machines in the new...
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video of my point of view as an advantage blackjack player. Today we will be continuing with some sessions in Vegas, showing what it's like to play high-stakes advantage blackjack in the sweatiest city in the country. In my last video, I visited Resorts World, The Wynn, Encore, Mohegan, and Fontainebleau. I only got to sit down and play at 2 of those spots, and it gave a really good look at just how competitive Vegas casinos are with card counters. They do not want us playing their games, and they pay very close attention to anyone who sits down at a blackjack table. While the quick backoffs can be frustrating, as advantage players we beat Vegas 10 minutes at a time. It's a game of cat and mouse, and once in a while the casino surveillance isn't quick enough. In this video I had a couple sessions that lasted longer than expected, as well as some instant backoffs. All in all, it was fairly typical Vegas stuff, and I'm excited to show you guys what it was like today. As always, I'm using the high-low count system to determine my true counts, and I'm playing a bet spread that will max out at either one hand of 2,000 if I'm playing solo, or two hands of 1,200 if I'm playing with other people. If you guys want to learn how the high-low system works and how it can be used to play blackjack with an advantage, check out my How to Count Cards video. It has everything you need to know. Of course, I'm also playing perfect basic strategy and using many count-based deviations when the odds are in my favor. So after I finished up Fontainebleau in my last video, I took a break for some food and then hit up a spot called Ellis Island. This is a small casino just a couple blocks off the strip, and in past trips they have had a pretty decent double-deck game. Upon walking in, I was quite displeased to see that they had gotten rid of the double-deck game and replaced it with a 6-deck game that had 2 decks cut off. This is pretty garbage deck penetration. It was still beatable though, so I sat down and started to play. I didn't make it long because these guys must have remembered me from last time. I didn't even raise my bet from table minimum before getting approached by the pit boss.
Alright, man. We're not gonna take your action. Alright.
So yeah, Ellis Island was a no-go. In my time playing the minimum bets, I lost $90. I wasn't too sad about losing this game, it wasn't worth much, and it was time to go try out some high-quality games. Next on my list was the Palms. Here they have a double-deck game where dealer stands on soft 17, double after split is allowed, and you may double on any first 2 cards. There is no resplit aces or surrender. The dealer cuts off just over half a deck from play, which is a deck penetration of roughly 70% and is very acceptable. The table minimum here is $100, which is the same amount as my bet at True 1. I'm not going to show the bets of $100 as it's too much of a hassle figuring out if it was a True 1 bet or a negative count bet, so I'm just going to show counts of True 2 or higher. The profit counter in the top right won't be perfectly accurate because of this, but it should be pretty close. Anyways, I found the table I wanted and I sat down and started playing. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this POV content, it really helps me out. I had the table all to myself and I played a few hands into the first shoe before the count raised to a True 2, borderlining on True 3. I settled on a bet between the two and threw out a bet of $300. I was dealt a 17 versus dealer's 4. I stood and the dealer also drew to 17, so this first hand was a push. The count had now dropped down to a definite True 2 and I lowered my bet to $200. I was dealt a 13 versus dealer's 9. I had to hit it and I turned it into a good old 23, so this one was no good. After this, my bets were down to $100 for the rest of the shoe, so let's fast forward a bit. I played a couple hands into the next shoe and then the count went up to a True 2. I put out my bet of $200 and was dealt a 9 versus dealer's 10, and through some amazing wizardry, I turned my hand into a 20, dealer drew to 23, so this hand was paid out. The count was now up to a True 6, which called for a massive jump in my bet. True 6 on my solo spread was one hand of $1,500, and I only had $800 in chips in front of me. This means I had to buy in for another $700 to fund this hand. Like I said in my last video, I hate it when I have to do this because it's such an odd thing to do. Like, who else other than a card counter is going to buy in for more when they already have $800 in front of them and then bet it all? F it though, I gotta follow the bet spread because I'm here to generate as much EV as my bankroll can handle. I got my extra chips and put out my hand of $1,500. I was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 10, dealer flipped a 2 and then a 10 for a total of 22, so we won this massive $1,500 hand. The count was now down to a True 4, so my bet lowered drastically to one hand of $600. I was dealt a 16 versus 10, and since the count was positive, I deviated from basic strategy and I stood. It was no use though, as the dealer drew to 19, so this one was a loss. The count dropped further down to a True 3, so I lowered my bet to $400. I was dealt a 15 versus 10, I had to hit and luckily didn't bust, turning it into 19 instead. Dealer drew to 18, so this hand was paid out. Count was now bordering on True 4, but not quite there, so I raised my bet to $500. I was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 10. Of course I stood and the dealer ended up drawing to 26, so this hand was also paid. Back to a True 3 and a $400 bet, I was dealt a soft 18 versus 10. This hand always hits versus the dealer's 10, which I did and turned it into a hard 18. Dealer flipped a 7 for 17, so we won our third hand in a row. After this, the count dropped down to a True 1 or lower, and ironically now is when I get the blackjack. I'll take it though. and the count stayed negative for the rest of the shoe, so I was back down to minimum bets. After this, I played an entire 3 shoes in negative counts, so nothing worth showing. Finally, on the 4th shoe, the count started to rise again, and we hit a true 2. Out went my $200, and I was dealt a soft 13 versus 3. I turned it into a soft 18 and stood. Dealer ended up busting, so this one worked out. All those low cards were great for me, as the count had now jumped up to a true 5. This means it was time for a hand of $1,200. I threw it out there and was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 9. Naturally, I stood, and the dealer drew to 17, which I was okay with. Count had now dropped down to a true 4, so I lowered my bet to $600. I was dealt a 13 versus dealer's 10. Once again, I had to hit, and the same result as my last 13, the old reliable 23. Luckily, we were back to true 5, so I had a chance to make it back and more. I raised my bet to $1,200, and what do you know, I was dealt another 13. However, this time, I didn't even get a chance to turn it into a 23 because the dealer had blackjack, so I just automatically lost. The count dropped down to a true 4, so I lowered my bet to $600 and was dealt a 20 versus dealer's 4. I stood, and the dealer drew to 17, so this one worked out. Next, I was dealt the exact same hand, this time against the dealer's 10. Once again, I stood, and the dealer drew to 17 again, meaning this hand was also paid out. The count had now dropped down to a true 2, and I was dealt a 12 versus ace. I didn't buy insurance, and I drew a 5 for 17. Dealer ended up drawing to 20, so this hand was a loss. That was the last hand of the shoe, so we shuffled and started a new one. Shortly into the next shoe, we hit a true 2, borderlining on a true 3, so I settled between the two again and put out a bet of $300. I was dealt a blackjack, dealer was showing ace, and I did not take even money. Dealer did end up having it though, so this hand was a push. After this, the count went negative, so I was back to minimum bets. Sadly, I wouldn't get another chance to raise them because my time here was up.
Hello. How's it going? I'm at Casino Manager.
Hi. So yep, another back off, which is always expected to happen eventually here in Vegas, and basically anywhere for that matter when you play like I do. My session here was 28 minutes long, my hourly EV was $1,150, and I profited $2,175. All in all, it was a pretty decent session. I quickly moved on to my next target, which was a casino called Orleans. They also have a pretty decent double deck game. Dealer hits on soft 17, double after split is allowed, and you may double any first 2 cards. There's no resplit aces or surrender, and the dealer cuts off just under a deck from play, which is a deck penetration of roughly 55%. This isn't the worst I've ever seen, but it certainly could be better. For this table, I played a $25 minimum bet. So once I got there and found my table, I started playing right away. I played a few minimum bets until the count reached a true 1, so I put out a bet of $100. I was dealt a soft 14 versus dealer's 8. I hit and...
Teams switching off. On Miro, the innovation workspace, teams work on an infinite AI-powered canvas.
And got a 7 for 21. Dealer drew to 18, so this first hand won. On the next hand, I was dealt a soft 17 versus dealer's 2. Normally this is just a hit, but at a true 1 or higher, it's a double, so I did just that. Dealer drew to 19, so I was hoping for a 3 or 4, but sadly I had an 8 for a total of 15, and I lost this hand. The count was now a borderline true 2, so I raised my bet to $150. I was dealt a 17 versus dealer's 4, which I stood on, and the dealer drew to 18, meaning this hand also lost. The count was now up to a true 2, borderline true 3, so I put out my bet of $300, and I was dealt a 16 versus dealer's 5. I stood, and luckily the dealer drew to 26, so this hand was paid out. We were now up to a true 4, so I raised my bet to $600 and was dealt a 15 versus dealer's 8. I had to hit, and unfortunately I busted on this one. I was pulling out some real cash now because the count had raised to a true 6, and that means one hand of $1,500. This situation feels a bit more natural to me because I had just lost all the chips in front of me, so when I raised my bet drastically after losing it all, it kind of makes it look more like gambler behavior. I put out my bet of $1,500 and was dealt a 17 versus dealer's 9. I had to stand and was preparing for a loss, but amazingly the dealer drew to 25 and I was paid out on this massive hand. Count was now true 7 and it was time for my max bet of $2,000. I put it out there and was dealt a 9 versus dealer's 10. I didn't even get a chance to hit because the dealer had blackjack and my $2,000 bet left the chat. The count was still true 7, so I had a chance to make it back, hopefully. I bought in and put out another bet of $2,000. I was dealt a 9 versus dealer's 8. I hit and got a 10. This 19 was gonna have to do, and luckily the dealer flipped a 10 for 18, meaning this hand was a win. That was the last hand of the shoe, and what a roller coaster that was. Dealer shuffled and we got into a new one. At this point I was joined by another player at the table, so I switched to my 2-hand spread. I played some negatives for a few hands until the count reached a true 2. I put out my 2 hands of 200, and on the first hand I was dealt a 19 versus dealer's 2, which I stood on. My second hand was a pair of aces, so I split them up and hoped for some good cards. As you guys can see, in these pitched double deck games, they deal cards face down a lot, which can make counting them difficult. You gotta be extra focused on games like this. Dealer drew to 18, and I was quite pleased to have both my ace split hands turn out to be 21, meaning all 3 of my hands won. After this, the count went negative for a while, so let's fast forward to a couple shoes later when the count hit a true 4. I put out my 2 hands of 500, and on my first hand I was dealt a 15 versus dealer's 8. I had to hit and sadly busted on this one. My second hand was a 13, which I turned into 20, so that was nice. The dealer drew to 19, so my second hand was paid out. The count had now raised to a true 5, so I raised my bet to 2 hands of 800. On my first hand, I was dealt an 11 versus dealer's 10. This was a great double opportunity, so I put out another $800 and hoped for a good card. My second hand was a 7, which I hit into a 19 and stood on. The dealer flipped a 10 for 20, so I for sure lost the one hand, and now I was really hoping for a 10 on that double, and sure enough, there it was, so the double was paid out. We were now up to a true 6, so I raised my bet to 2 hands of 1,000. My first hand was a soft 14 versus dealer's 10. I had to hit on it and unfortunately turned it into a 24, so that was a bust. My second hand was a 13, and you guys already know what's coming, the old reliable 23, so sadly I lost both hands here. That was the last hand of the shoe, and I was sure that the surveillance attention was on me now. I was hoping to get a few more high counts in before they could back me off. I played through a couple negative shoes with the other player, and by the time the count started to get positive, he had left, so I was back to playing solo. Here the count had raised to true 3, so I put out a bet of $400. I was dealt a 12 versus dealer's 9. I hit and got a 5 for 17. Dealer drew to 24, so this hand was paid. The count had now jumped up to a true 5, so out went the bet of $1,200. I was dealt a 14 versus dealer's 5, which I stood on and crossed my fingers for the dealer bust. Sadly, dealer drew to 19, so this one was no good. The only positive to come out of that situation was that the count was now up to a true 7, so it was time to potentially have a big win. I put out my $2,000 bet and was dealt a 7 versus dealer's 10. Ouch. I hit and got a 10 for 17 and prepared for another loss, but amazingly the dealer drew to 26, so this massive $2,000 hand was actually paid out. That was the last hand of the shoe and a great way to end it. Dealer shuffled and we got into a new one. I played a few hands in the negative before the count hit a true 1. I put out my bet of $100 and was dealt a 17 versus dealer's 2. Of course I stood on this one and the dealer drew to 20, so this was a loss. The count was now up to a true 2, so I raised my bet to 1 hand of 200. I was dealt a 20 versus dealer 7, and the dealer flipped a 10 for 17, so this hand was paid out. We were now back into a negative count, so I lowered my bet to table minimum. This was the end of the line for me though, because I had officially overstayed my welcome.
Sorry, but we can't let you play blackjack.
Once again, as expected, we got the back off, this time a little later than usual, which is always nice. One of my friends who had just walked in to tag me out watched the whole thing unfold, so that was pretty funny too. All in all, I got a 46-minute session here, my hourly EV was $820, and my session profit was $1,040. A 46-minute session is great for Vegas, and I got to leave with a profit, so overall it was a good session. I'm going to end it here. This was the last spot I hit on my first day in Vegas, so I was exhausted. It was nice to go back to the hotel with a couple wins though, because it could have gone either way on this first day. Don't forget to check out Blackjack Advisors if you're interested in fast-tracking your advantage blackjack training and networking with other players. They offer live stream sessions for all skill levels, Q&As, member chat, giveaways, and more. It's a very valuable resource for card counters of any skill level. And that's all I got for you guys today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more POV videos like this. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
I want like a real one. Where's Blackjack? I want double deck. The Hulu. Okay. Oh shit, bro. Gotta rearrange the desk. Can't see. Okay. Yeah, over the rules. Hard or soft 17 though. That's all I know. What's the minimum? At minimum, so that would be what is it? Okay, so 6 or less is +1. Okay. So it'd be at -1, -2, -3. So that's 1. And I guess we just play basic strategy. Wait, what did it put? Fuck. Alright, I suck. That again. So now it goes up. Now it's at, went from a 3 to, fuck. Went from a 3 to a -2, back to a -3. Also, we double that. I don't know what that would be. Oh well. So 2 10s would be -1, so it's like big negatives now. -5. Okay, yes, split that. -5, -6, 7, -8, -7, -5. We stand. 6, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, those cancel out. Those cancel out. -6, -7 now. -6, stand on that. So it goes down 2, so it's -4, not -5. Okay, so now it's -4. -5. Wait, no, 8's don't count, right? That's just still -4. Okay, so that was, now it's like a -4. This was boring. Cancel out, -4, -3. There's a 5, so that would be -3, 2, -2. Positive 1 now. Double that too. It's at a 0 now. Okay, it's at a +2 now. No, it's just back to 0. Plus 0, -1. -2. Maybe next time we're gonna pull for her. -1, I think. +1 or 0. I gotta look that up. Okay, I think we should be at a +1 now. Just a bit better. Still +1, double. Okay, let's see what she pulled. I think we're still at a +1 now, probably can't see. 16. I guess I hit that, no +1. Okay, so now it's still at a +1, just cancel it out. Actually, it's at a -1 now. -2, 3. No insurance. Wait. -2, 3, -2. Hit. 18, down. 17. So -1. 9, 10. So -0. Yeah, -1. Hit. negative 11 now. Holy shit. No, 10. If I'm not wrong. 9, 8, 7. 8. 9. 10, 11. 10. Call it 9. No. Yeah, we'll call it 9. 10, 11. 10. 9, 8. I don't think you can even count cards in this game. It's all automated. It's just a shuffle either. Alright, we'll throw a max bet then. Okay. Oh, we love that. Sick. Double on the 13. Alright. Oh, no. Alright, well, that was fucking lame. I wish they had, like, where it actually, like, followed the deck. Because I don't think they actually do. I think it's 2 random cards.